Welcome to Talking the Walk podcast. أنا ياسمين العربي, Sterling International Ambassador, and I'm so excited to kick off this journey with you and to learn how can individuals and organizations live up to their values and to make a positive impact. هنتكلم مع بعض في topics كتيرة جدا related بالleadership, بالsustainable excellence, and most importantly, we will learn how to be a role model and how to talk the walk and make a difference in the world. في حلقة النهاردة I'm joined by an exceptional leader who has devoted and dedicated all his career to empowering individuals and organizations to reach to their full potential. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Alaa El-Halwagi, who is chairman of the board for Sterling International. I'm so excited to dig deeper with him in the topics today because he has a huge experience which will definitely add to this conversation, so stay tuned. طيب خليني أسأل حضرتك أول سؤال. What does it really mean to talk the walk, سواء personally or professionally?
Thank you for the question. Talking the walk is about telling the story. It's about telling people how I, as a leader, or any leader, has really exemplified the behaviors and actions they want in their followers and in their organization. So telling the story is a great way for learning. One of the principles for adult learning is to tell the story. So this is talking the walk is about telling the story.
Okay. طيب, what does sustainable excellence means to Sterling International?
To Sterling International, I think to most humanity, sustainable excellence is about when I get to the top, how can I stay there? A lot of organizations, a lot of individuals, they exert a lot of effort, resources, and time to get to the top. Unfortunately, if they don't have a mechanism to stay at the top, they're going to start declining. So sustainable excellence is how when I get to where I need to be to stay there as long as I can.
واحنا دايما بنشوف ده ان احنا ممكن في organizations كتيرة توصل اللي هي achieve خلاص اللي هم عايزين يوصلوا له, بعد كده ما بيقدروش يحافظوا sustainable للليفل اللي هم وصلوا له.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
And this is why this is one of the principles, I would say, that our organization is founded on. Not just helping people to get to the top, but stay at the top.
Okay. طيب, according to Sterling International model, what is sustainable excellence? أو يعني how do you define it?
Sterling International uses the Baldrige Sterling framework, which basically founded on 7 elements, if you will, and how to integrate those elements together from leadership all the way to business results. Lie in doing that is the sustainable excellence. So you have to have leaders, visionary, who really drive a strategy to help the organization serve its customers and measuring every step of the way. And they do that through a well-trained and aware workforce that use optimized operations to achieve those sustainable results. So in this statement, I have kind of covered all the 7 elements of the framework that we use.
كنت لسه أسأل حضرتك 7 categories بس حضرتك you covered them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
طيب دكتور علاء, how can you stay true to yourself? احنا بنقابل حاجات كتيرة قوي through our journey, سواء professionally or personally. How do we stay true to ourselves?
Very tough.
Yes,
very tough to continue to be authentic and to do what you typically do. And one of the things I always recommend is be very aware of your values. If you are aware of your values and how to apply those values day in and day out, you will stay pretty much true to yourself. However, we need to remember that we are all human beings, and human beings have 2 things in common. They forget and they do mistakes. It's okay that some days we feel, or some periods we feel that we kind of deviated a little bit. Having some way of measuring where we are at any given point will help us always to come back on track to continue the journey. So deviation from the path shouldn't be the end. It's almost like someone is putting themselves on a diet, right? There are a couple of days that they're going to cheat on their diet and they're going to eat something that they shouldn't eat. That doesn't mean that they stop what they are doing. It means that I'm aware of that. Now, what can I do tomorrow to help this come back on track and for me to come back on track? Easy? No. Possible, yes.
طب أنا إزاي أقدر أعمل ده؟ يعني حضرتك دلوقتي بتقول إن إحنا ساعات بنعمل deviation
Yes.
من our values
Yes.
والمهم إن أنا أقدر أمجر ده.
Yes.
tips بقى إزاي أقدر أعمل ده؟
Well, any value has behaviors. Organizations in general, every organization has a set of values, and those values are published on the wall in their publications, under their signature, in email. So the values are known. The question is, how do we measure those values? They can never be measured unless you convert them to KPIs, and KPI stands for key behavior indicators. So each value has a set of behaviors. When you behave those behaviors, you kind of living that value. So you will know when you misbehave, you will know that you misbehaved. And you say, okay, I did not do this today. What can I do tomorrow to ignite it back on so I can stay on track?
I really like the idea بتاعت ال KPIs because most of the organizations أو all of the organizations متعودين أو عارفين ال KPIs اللي هي key performance indicators. طيب, what's the difference between both of them? Key behaviors indicators and key performance indicators.
When you look at any organization, all organizations these days, they have a vision and mission, at least they say, and they have some sort of a custom version on the wall. The purpose of the vision and mission is basically to help the organization stay on track to achieve the results. Getting from vision and mission to results, typically they take two tracks. One we call the strategic track, and the other one is the cultural track. The strategic track create the results. The cultural track sustain the results. The strategic track is measured through KPIs, key performance indicators, and the cultural track is measured through KBIs, key behavior indicators. So which one is important? And the answer is, of course, both. You need to create the results and be on track to achieve what you have set the organization to do. But the KPIs will keep you on track. The KPIs will always help you do the sustainability piece. And this is how both together collectively lead to sustainable results, not just results.
Okay. Okay, طيب, back to values and talking about values, can you share an example? لأنه أنا بس عايزة إن يعني الناس تعرف إنها something we can do. Do you have an example to share between choosing what was right and what was easy?
Well, we always tend to choose what's easy.
Yes.
Okay. Typically, it's a human nature. However, we all know, and this is when you know that you deviated.
Yes.
Okay, when you take the easy, if the easy is not aligned with what's right, you deviate. So you take any value, for instance, for an organization, integrity, and then detail that integrity into behaviors. Do all people in the organization really apply integrity 100% of the time? I doubt that. However, if we look at the behaviors that are triggered by integrity, and we apply, let's say, 80%, or we start by applying 40%, and then we get into 60 or 80 or 100. So as you take this journey of application, you will always have the struggle between doing what's right and versus what's easy.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it is a struggle within us. And that struggle within us is really what push us to improve and to continue on the track of getting to a better place applying our values.
That's really tough.
Yeah, it is very tough.
Yes.
It's from experience, to be honest with you, because I started my career in engineering, and we have a very clear criteria for a successful project in engineering.
Yes.
And sometimes you feel at the very end of the project, and you are against timeline and you are against budget, that the right thing to do is really to extend the time and the resources in order to address something that you are aware of before you close your design or before you close your construction, but you are now torn between two things. Do I finish on time and on budget and I look as a hero, or do I extend both time and budget and do the right thing? So that struggle between, I won't even call it right and wrong, but it's between right and harder right. So a lot of times we have that struggle, what's right and what is really harder right. And it's those few of us that actually choose the harder right, even though it's going to be costly, even though it's going to postpone, even though it's going to push the schedule, even though it's not going to deliver the results you're looking for on time, but it is always the right thing to do, because the right thing to do will always be the right thing to do.
Yes, yes. طيب حضرتك بتقول أنا عارفة إن حضرتك الباك جراوند بتاعتك أصلا engineering
Yes.
وحضرتك كنت very successful في الكارير دوت. What inspired you إن حضرتك تغير from engineering which was very successful وحضرتك وصلت فيها لتايتل كبيرة جدا إنه حضرتك to shift your career?
As I took the engineering career, which I really enjoyed,
Yes.
I loved engineering, and I still do. I realized as I got into the different phases of engineering, whether design or construction or maintenance or feasibility studies, that what distinguish great engineers from average engineers is not their knowledge in engineering, but rather how they were able to form a team, lead a team, and get the team to work collaboratively to achieve the results. So I was intrigued by that. So I took a deep dive into that, and I discovered that there is a science called the human resources, and I got into human resources and I studied it on my own. Okay, and the more I got deeper into it, the more I realized that even though I was specialized in designing and building bridges, I felt that designing bridges between people and among teams and organizations is more intriguing and more fulfilling to me. And that's when I decided to make the switch from engineering to organizational development and excellence.
طيب الباك جراوند بتاعت الانجينيرينج did it influence you في الكارير بتاع حضرتك في الاتش ار؟
It did, because engineering is about logic, is about a pathway of thinking, and that was really the tool I used to uncover my passion. I stumbled into my passion by accident at the age of 47, 45, and then I split from engineering at the age of 47. But that pathway of thinking helped me to address excellence first in a logical way, and then added to it my passion, which is passionate way. So the combination of the logical thinking and the passion kind of intersected to create my new career, which I love, I enjoy, but I can't say that I dropped engineering completely, because it is part of who I am and how I become.
طيب انا ما اقدرش افوت حضرتك بتتكلم على الباشن، ما اقدرش افوتها كده لان احنا عارفين انه most of the people بنعيش وبنموت واحنا لسه we didn't discover our passion. ازاي نقدر نوصل للباشن او السويت سبوت دي؟
Well, let me start with the bad news and we'll get into the good news. Over 93% of humanity never get to the level of passion. They are just doing a job, and they can be very good at doing the job. But passion really requires a journey, and it requires a lot of reflections and a lot of questions that you ask yourself on a daily basis. It starts by knowing what I am very good at. And then you take this into what is the need? Is there can this so there's difference between what I do and what I love doing. So what do you really love doing? And it could be completely different than what you are doing today. Searching that where you feel good. Of course, there are assessments and there are some organizational tools that can help you. I'm just talking in general. Zeroing in on what you love doing. And when you find out what you love doing, the second piece is, I need to be the best at it. Yes. Okay. That requires training, that requires knowledge, that requires whatever it requires. So you start converting what you love doing into, I become the best in the world at doing it. When you get to that, and those are the two pieces, and that's Dr. Zinger model for extraordinary leadership. Then you start looking at, is there a place that can house that? It can be a different department where you work. It can be a completely different organization. And that's when you say, okay, I need to find a job here. So here's what I love doing. Here's when I become very good at doing it. And then it becomes, where can I house this so I can add value to myself and add value to others around me.
Okay, so
It's a lifetime journey. It's not something that, by a flip of a switch, you can do it, but you continuously self-reflect and stay on that.
Okay, so skills, what I'm good at doing, and trying to find a spot where we can combine both together.
Yes, and I will go as far as saying I really need to get that aha moment when I'm doing what I'm doing. I really enjoy what I'm doing. You ask people in organizations, a lot of them do not enjoy what they're doing, but it's a good way of making a living. And by the way, they are making a huge difference every day. So it's not like we are omitting all those folks. No, in the contrary, this is good and this is needed. But I'm one of those believers that if you intersect between what you enjoy and love doing, and then build the skills around that, more than likely you're going to get somewhere.
طب أكيد عشان حضرتك توصل to discover your passion وتعمل الترانزيشن between الانجينيرينج والHR، أكيد في قابلت حضرتك some major challenges.
Yes.
زي إيه؟
First of all, financial. Okay, because when I decided to switch my career, no one will hire me because I don't have experience in it. Yes. I just got certs and I got some degrees and stuff like that, but organizations need experience. So I decided to hire myself and start my own company. Well, going from 6 figures income a year and medical insurance, which is a big deal where I live in the United States, to literally zero overnight is very shocking news, especially for someone like me who had a family and had expenses and overheads, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't suggest to people to do what I did because it was beyond crazy. But the good news is I had a huge conviction that this is what I wanted to do. And I had a family that supported me in that decision. So that increased the pressure on me, is how to get to a point where I can create some sort of substance that sustain my living. Okay. So I sat down and I put a budget together, and the budget was not what I would like to have, but what I must have in order to eat, to have clothing, to have rent, et cetera, et cetera. And I had a meeting with the family and I said, this is what I decided to do. What do you think? And they had zillion questions over several weeks. And then they decided, okay, we're going to go for it because you are after your dream and you always fulfilled your obligations. So go for it. So the first thing is financial. Do we know how we're going to sustain that finances? And there is that doubt that, am I going to make it? Okay. Yes, it's adventure. I like it. I got the tools, but will I be able to make it? And this is what I always give as a suggestion. I don't give advices, but as a suggestion to young entrepreneurs, you have to have a compelling purpose. If you don't have a very clear, convincing why, don't start your business because it's not going to succeed. But if you have a compelling purpose and a very clear why, that's what's going to sustain you over time till you get to where you need to go. Again, and you're going to hear me say that a lot, is it easy? Absolutely not. Is it possible? It's very possible. And I'm always after the possible. Yes. Can I do it? Yes, it seems like it. And you look at it from different angles. You share it with your support system and everybody is telling you, yes, you can. So we go for it. But those are quite challenges.
Yes.
And those nights that you are by yourself, you don't have a support system, you don't have your family, and you always ask yourself, did I do the right thing? I think your compelling purpose will come alive at that moment.
Yes, but it's very inspiring. The حضرتك بتقول you shifted the career 47 or 48 years old.
Yes.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. 47, I'm 71 now, so I've been in it for 24 years, which is almost equal to my engineering career, another 24 years. Yes.
طب how do you continue your personal growth على يعني زي ما حضرتك بتقول كده through the journey?
This is a very good question because I really trust in my heart that human beings need to be continuous learners.
Yes.
You don't stop learning because you got a degree. You don't stop learning because you read a book. But you continue. As long as you are alive, you continue your learning. So I give a lot of trainings, but I go to trainings. I give a lot of coaching, but I get coached. So you really need to charge your battery, okay? And one of the examples I always use is the atomic energy. And how you sustain an atomic energy is you get the uranium, which is the most expensive, I would say, metal. And if you leave it outside and it continue to radiate, it becomes lead,
yes.
which is the cheapest metal. But in order to keep this charging, you capsulize it with other molecules of uranium, and it will continue to radiate because it helps getting that energy from someone. So this is another thing I talk about a lot. Who is your support system? Are they, what kind of conversations you have with your support system? Yes, I am for fun. I am for people to get together and have fun and have social interventions and all that good stuff. But I hope throughout that, there's the craft of few minutes to talk about where I am, what I need to be, and where I need to be, and what are some of the things I need to learn to become. So continuity comes from continuous learning and also support system that understand and appreciate that. Nice. So they become like the uranium molecules surrounding you, that they radiate to you and you radiate to them.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for this, because I really want to emphasize about the support system and how people are contagious. Energy is contagious. So positive energy is contagious and negative energy is contagious as well. So when we surround ourselves with key performers و achievers, we will be one of them.
Absolutely.
ولما هنسراوند ourselves بالناس اللي تشتكي كتير اللي negative بصل كل حاجة وحشة, we will also be one of them. Our surroundings and support system is really very important.
And all research support that, by the way, Yasmin. All research
yes.
support a very simple fact. You want to be successful, surround yourself with successful people.
Yes.
Okay. You want to be average, you more than likely are surrounding yourself with average people, because the support system will help you navigate through life and get to the highest level that you want.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Sure.
Thank you. Can you share with us a recent aha moment? Yeah, Doctor.
I get a lot of aha
yes.
moments, actually. My biggest aha moments in general is when I am delivering a training or I'm working with an organization and they get it.
Yes.
When they get it, that's a turning point for me. That's because, my mission in life is to make a difference in individuals, organizations, and communities. So I set myself to do that 24/7. As long as I'm awake, that's what I always think about. So what aha moments for me is when people see the value, and even if they challenge it, they say, I don't agree, and we get into a discussion, and when the dust settles, everybody is on the same page, whether it's their point or my point or something in between. The important thing is when a learner in life gets it yes. and say, oh my God, now I understand why. That moment to me is very, very special moment. And it can be when I was training my son to ride a bike and he got it, yes. and I removed the training wheels, or when I throw him in the pool and he was able to swim and he gets it, or with a participant, a professional, an executive in one of my workshops says, oh, that makes sense.
Yes.
Those are big aha moments. And I believe in my heart that every leader get their aha moments and they interpret it different, but it comes to the bottom line. Did I make a difference today? And I think this notion of making a difference is dear and close to my heart.
Yes, and I second you, and this is a very special moment.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
طيب, back to organizations as sustainable performance. What metrics or KPIs do we use to track progress?
A lot, actually. The Baldrige selling framework has, as I mentioned, 7 elements: leadership, strategy, customers, measurement, analysis, knowledge management, workforce operations, and then business results. And there is a huge amount of matrices that measure every step of the way. Okay. This whole idea is reaching to sustainable excellence is about measuring what you do.
Yes.
because what gets measured gets done.
Yes.
Also, what gets measured can be improved. If you're not measuring, you'll never get to sustainable excellence. So we have tons of metrics that measure every step of the way in the organization, including culture, actually not including, starting with culture.
Yes.
Because if you don't have a culture of sustainable excellence, one, you won't get to it, but even if you get to it accidentally, and I don't know how, you will never be able to sustain it. So the idea of measuring every step of the way of what leaders do, how you design and deploy strategy, how you provide customer experience, and what do customers say? Are they willing to stay? Are they willing to come back? Are they willing to tell their friends to come with them? All these things are founded on accurate measures. And I don't mean just haphazard, and I don't mean roughly measures. I mean 2 decimal measures that will allow us to track improvement and celebrate those improvements so we can continue on the track till we get to the highest potential of every one of us, which becomes the highest potential of the team and the organization.
طيب Dr. Alaa, can you share an example for a successful, sustainable organization?
A lot of organizations were able to get to excellent and stay there. And without mentioning specific names, because our clients are all over the world, and some of them are in the Fortune companies in the U.S. Some of them are pretty gigantic overseas, and we have seen organizations not only reach to the level of excellence and sustainability of excellence, but they have built new platforms of what redefined what excellence is. So for any business owner, what they're looking for is, can I get to the maximum amount of profit? And can I sustain that amount of profit? Can I increase my footprint wherever I'm doing business? And we have seen not only that the profit has quadrupled, okay, but the revenue stream has quadrupled. We have seen the number or the amount of footprint almost double with some of the organization. And remind everybody that this happened with the same resources. They did not have to extend the resources. They did not have to spend more money. In fact, they spend less money. And the question is, how can you spend less resources and quadruple your income? Because they have decided to take that sustainable excellence journey, which basically is a product of decades of research, implementation, and refining how that framework look like. We're talking about things that have been in play for over 70 plus years, from the times of rebuilding Japan. And then in the United States, we started this journey 37 years ago. So it didn't happen overnight. And the framework we use, it was not someone's dream that they say, okay, let's try this. Maybe it started as such, but it was founded on the principles of Dr. Deming's statistical analysis. And then this framework was created, and this framework is being revisited and literally updated on an annual basis based on feedback we get from organizations, based on implementation of these methodologies and approaches and different models. So hundreds of thousands of people have been part of this movement that created a framework that proven to work magically once you start. The question is, are you ready to start?
And if they are ready to start, أكيد برضو through this journey اللي حضرتك بتتكلم فيها أكيد الorganization بتface a lot of challenges.
Of course.
What are some of those challenges عشان بس الorganizations تبقى عارفة إنه we can face those challenges through this journey?
Of course. The biggest challenge that organizations face is a resistance.
Yes.
And the biggest mistake that the organization do, that they think they need to eliminate resistance. You don't, because you will never, ever eliminate resistance.
Yes.
Never. But what you can do is to manage resistance so it doesn't come on the way of the change. That's a huge concept. The huge concept is, first of all, people making decision to be part of the change has to be personal decision.
Yes.
You cannot force it. You can create an environment where people choose that. You can work with them through awareness, explaining why the change, why now, what happens if we don't change. So you're making the case for the change, but you can't force it. That requires ability to dialogue, to converse, to connect, and actually be patient. So as you take in this journey, first of all, have fun. It's a lot of fun, it's rewarding, and you're going to see, excuse me, you're going to see those low-hanging fruits along the journey. It's not like you're going to get from 0 to 100 overnight. But this journey is going to take you multiple years. You're going to see improvements along the journey. So have fun. Make it the new way of thinking. Make it adopted as the new way of doing business and work. It's not something that's superimposed on you. But it also requires conversing about it, okay? Yes. And being able to accept resistance. It's not that you have to have everybody on board. But if you get the early majority with you and the early adopters with you, I think you are on your way. And step by step, those non-believers are going to jump on the wagon and be with you. And they're going to be a sliver of the workforce that no matter what you do, they're not going to come on board. And those are the people that they're going to have to make tough decisions at one point because they see the entire organization moving in one direction and they are standing alone. So either they're going to peel off and leave the organization, or they finally may become part of whatever is happening. But don't get stuck on the idea that we have to have every single soul in the organization as a part of the change, because I am here to tell you it's not going to happen.
And I think we should answer them the what's in it for me question in order to get the buy-in.
Absolutely. This is really where the desire and the outcome model that we use in the change management come in. Your ability to answer what's in it for me, because the CEO is talking about we're going to be the best organization in the world, we're going to make tons of money, we're going to have larger footprint, we're going to be a role model organization. And then the little person in the organization say, okay, how am I going to benefit from this? What's in it for me? So it is the transformation team that is tasked to answer that question for every soul in the organization. What's in it for everyone? And someone would say, listen, my organization has 100,000 people. Do I need to make the case for the 100,000 people? I would say yes. But the good news is it's not one person's job, but it's tiered down throughout the organization. So it's very important that the buy-in of the transformation journey happens at the top. If it doesn't happen at the top, you're going to struggle and it will never happen. Okay. But when it comes in the top, it makes it a little bit easier to disseminate through the different tiers and layers of the organization. But it will always come down to this. What's in it for me? So that's the WIFM question.
Yes, the WIFM
Thank you
question.
for sharing that. Yes.
طيب خليني أقف هنا بس شوية دكتور علاء أتكلم عن التشينج. إنه هو التشينج مش بس organization اللي بيبقى صعب أو فيه resistance. Even individuals, on the personal level, التشينج بيبقى بالنسبة لنا very tough. because we're creatures of habit. احنا بنعمل الحاجة كل يوم، بنخرج مع نفس الناس، بنتكلم في نفس المواضيع، بنقعد في نفس الأماكن. فدايما التشينج حتى لو لحاجة positive، حتى لو لحاجة حلوة، بنقل بيت جديد، بغير لمدرسة جديدة، whatever the change is, even if it's positive، برضو بيبقى فيه resistance. ايه اللي يخلينا to overcome resistance ده شوية؟
Okay. I think the force for the change versus the force against the change.
Yes.
If the force for the change is larger, the change will happen. If the resistance to the change is larger, the change will not happen, as simply as I can put it. So there got to be reasons why you're making a change. Well, let me give you a very simple example. I struggled with weight all my life, okay? And I used to be a tennis player and I enjoyed good health. And then I stopped playing tennis. I continued eating. And what happened at the end is I ballooned up. I became huge, almost closer to 180, 190 kilos, okay, which is almost 400 pounds. And it was the agony of this weight I'm carrying that forced me to reevaluate. So the force for me to change and to go back to where I used to be or close to it was health issues, was comfort issues, inability to move as easy as I used to, inability to do activities I wanted to do. So this desire for it was really big. And I struggled with that change, to be honest with you. I don't think there is a diet that's been invented that I haven't been put on. But even then, I discovered that is not a diet. Again, because why? Because it is temporary. Okay.
Yes.
You want to get to excellence and you want to sustain that excellence. So I want to get to a weight and I sustain that weight. So it was about changing my paradigm about food. So if I break my diet and eat a slice of cheesecake, for instance, I don't have to finish the entire pie. I can only eat one slice. So having this balance and this struggle for betterment, which I love about the Japanese management philosophy, struggle for betterment, because it is a struggle.
Yes.
Whether we are talking about family-wise, we are talking about personal weight issue or career issue, or we're talking about organizations that want to get to the top. It is a struggle for betterment. So how can I quantify this struggle for betterment in order to get some lessons learned that I can use in the future? And it was only when I decided to change the way I look at food.
Yes.
Okay. And yes, I eat everything I like now, but I am plus or minus the weight, not the ideal weight, but at least a weight I can live with. And this is another thing. There's a huge difference between excellence and perfection. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for excellence. Okay. And because if you look for perfection, you're going to give up and you're going to get out of it. So what can I do in order to reach the highest level I can? So I'm okay with my weight now, plus or minus. Sustaining it is, okay, if I overeat during lunch, I'm going to skip dinner and so forth. I need to be moving every day, and I'm conscious of that, maybe a little bit of activities. If I don't want to go out, I can jog in my place at home. So you create your own ways that will help you and change your paradigm, which is your way of thinking, so you can condition yourself to what you need to do. One more time, easy, no, possible, yes. And it takes not only training yourself, which is very tough, but I go back to the support system.
Yes.
Okay. When I decided to put myself on a diet or to change my life, everyone around me is aware of that. So they guide me. Okay. So if they see me stuff my face, they say, hey, by the way, did you forget that you are trying to watch your weight? So support system always guide us to get to where we need to go. They always remind us with what we need to do. And I cannot emphasize enough the importance of paradigm shift with the way you think, but also the support system around you to help you get to where you need to go.
So support system لو احنا مثلا individuals أو we're trying to change. طيب organizationally, at this stage the leader role is very important.
Yes.
How, يعني, can you emphasize more about the leader's role at this stage?
Well, let me start by saying this. If you are the top leader of the organization, that's a very lonely position.
Yes.
You are literally alone. And the question for executives who are alone, how can you create a support system? And I always believed in, even if you are on the top, you are a CEO, you really are alone. But you have by choice selected executives to be part of your network, because every one of us need a board, by the way. At the individual level, at the organization level, wherever you go, we need a board. Sometimes we formalize it in an organization, we call them board of directors. But in our lives, we call them a board, and that's your support system, right?
Yes.
So as a leader, you have an executive team with you. Number one is, did you choose the right executives to be in your executive team? And that's a big if, because most executive leaders inherited the executives they have.
Yes.
Okay. But through taking this journey, again, of becoming a sustainable excellence, you're going to have criteria for what an executive needs to look like, what a leader needs to look like. And based on this criteria, you need to go back and reevaluate, did I make the right choice? And who needs to be in that executive team? And those are hard decisions, by the way. Those are very, very tough decisions. So first, you need to make sure that that team around you as a leader is the right team. Is the team that will call you on things and say, I don't think this makes sense. And you have to be willing to take that feedback and work on it. But also you're going to always go back and seek their suggestions and guidance on what you do. That requires a specific type of leader. And that's why in the Baldrige Sterling framework, we always talk about visionary leaders. Yes. And while this term has been used and abused over time, visionary leaders are very, very few, very few. The true visionary leader is very few. And I don't think that we have the time to talk about that, but I can talk about that literally for days. And we have a lot of interventions with leading institutions in the United States through which we help leaders around the globe to become visionary leaders. And it's a journey of months and years. So it's not something that you're going to take overnight. Yes. Or a book you read, but several books and several articles and several interventions and several assessments and several projects that you get involved in. So leadership, 85% of leadership skills are classroom-based. You'll learn. So if you take a below average person, you can convert them into exemplary leader through training, coaching, guidance, et cetera, et cetera. So how to deploy all these tools available to you to become the exemplary leader, and then how can I surround myself internally in the organization and in my family and friends to be surrounded by those compatible leaders become a journey, but it's an enjoyable one. Because at the end of the day, you know that you're making the right decisions at the personal level or the organizational level.
طيب لو سألت حضرتك على advices to give for a leader or organization going through this journey. Advices, يعني for example, let's say three main advices.
First, I would say the buy-in from the leadership team. Okay. The leadership team has to be on board. Okay. The leadership team has to be convinced that this is the right path. Ask all the questions you want, deliberate whatever you need to deliberate, go back and forth. That's absolutely okay and healthy. But once we make the decision, we're going to take the journey, we're going to stick to it. So that's number one. Number two, be aware that that journey is not going to happen overnight. So be patient, okay? Because great things take time, okay? The bamboo tree takes almost less than a year to become 90 feet long, but it takes almost 18 months for the seed you put in the ground to show the first plant above ground. So things take time in order to get to where you need to go. So second piece is patience. But the third one is you need framework, you need tools, you need toolbox, okay? So you're not really shooting in the dark. So do we have the buy-in from our leaders and executives? Number two, are we patient enough? And number three, do we have framework that we need? And let me add one more. Who's going to help us achieve that?
Yes.
Because the leadership team, it can be made of 5, 6, 10, 20, 50, okay? But the organization has thousands. Who's going to help? So we need to have a team of transformation ambassadors, if you will, that's going to take this message on the road internally and externally to help the organization need to where they need to go. So that's what I would suggest. And those are heavy duty. Those are not something that happen overnight. Again, they need formation, they need persistence, and they need continuous dialogue, which I cannot emphasize enough.
Yes. طيب, what are some takeaways for the listeners who wants to drive this sustainable excellence journey in their organization? What are their takeaways?
When you say takeaways, you mean lessons learned?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I think I can go back to what I said earlier about taking the journey is a strategic decision. Yes. It is not an operational decision. It's a strategic one, which requires the engagement of the executives and the leadership of the organization. And the second thing is as you take this journey, you're going to get low-hanging fruits. You're going to see some outcomes happen over that period of time, because journey like this typically take anywhere between 3 to 5 years. It depends on where the organization is and how ambitious they are about what they are wanting to get in the future. So patience is going to be a big piece in there. So be patient, but also put milestones. Okay, design the journey with milestones. We always do that with our clients that we work with. It is what you should expect to see on month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4. Number 3, always be connecting with everybody that's involved in this journey. It's not like I gave a message as the top person in the organization and then I'm going to go home and think that's going to happen miraculously over the next 3-5 years. I have to be engaged. So engagement is really a big piece on how we make this a reality in organizations. There's a long list of things that we need to focus on as we take in this journey. But I think through the different questions that you shared and asked, there were several tips that leaders and the folks in the organization needs to be focusing on. Another lesson that I learned, another lesson that I learned the tough way actually was when I worked in transportation and our team has gotten to the top and then it starts going backward. For leaders, they need to make sure that they are really leading at the same speed. Because you get an ambitious leader and they keep driving at 200 kilometers per hour while the team capacity is at 100 kilometers per hour. So they're going to run to catch up, but at one point they're going to give up.
Yes.
So for leaders, you need to look back to make sure that your team is still with you, because if they are not with you, I don't think you will be able to get, because the whole idea is how can we get together to where we need to go.
To reach there.
Yes, absolutely.
Those are golden rules.
Thank you.
طيب looking back on your journey from engineering، عشان حضرتك كنت لسه دلوقتي بتتكلم على التيم بتاع حضرتك في الانجينيرينج. So looking back through this journey, what are the lessons learned from يعني going from engineering to organizational development?
One, all human beings look for success. Okay, everybody want to be a part of a winning team. Okay, no one is saying, okay, I'm starting my week today, and I want to be average this week. No one uses this language. Success and victory are beautiful. Okay, it's a question of knowing how to be successful and how to be victorious, and not like 3-4 decades ago. There are tons of tools that help us become successful and victorious. So my journey from engineering to organizational development and excellence, I had lots of successes and I have lots of failures. Okay, yes. So my second thing that I will echo is failure is okay if you use it as a platform to plan for the next success. Okay, yes. So we all fail. That's absolutely fine, but don't get stuck. Yes. And this is really the big thing that I learned over my 48 years of working with corporate globe. Number 3 is try as much as you can when you are pursuing success and victory, not to be alone, but pull someone with you. Okay. And today, exemplary leaders are not about their credentials, it's not about their certifications and degrees. It's about the impact they left behind, is the footprint that they left behind. And I encourage all leaders to, as they take this journey, not to be thinking about their own glory, but the glory of the organization and the glory of the team that they are working with. Number 4, success and victory are tough. They're not easy. It's not, again, a flip of a switch and you're going to get there. So be patient, be resilient, and you're going to get some weak moments. We all get those. That's, again, the value of the support system. So as you start this journey, or any journey, make sure that you have people around you that will help you take this journey. Lastly, when you get to where you needed to go, don't forget those that actually stood by you to get you there. So always be gracious and have something kind to say about those that were with you to get to where you need to go. Then that's probably some of the things that I have learned over 48 years working.
Do you have someone in particular who inspired you through this journey?
I have a lot of people actually who inspired me to go through this journey, but I think, and I probably most people will come in that particular point where they will always refer to their parents, and I've been blessed with parents, Allah yarhamhum, bless their soul. They may not have everything, but they have done the best they can and know how to help us become the best children. And I think my dad was really, he made sure that he took me with him everywhere he went. And while I sat in with people that I never known who they are, and I discovered later on that they are big names when I grew up, I never known why I'm in that suit sitting with people who are zillion years older than me, listening. But that journey of accompanying him and seeing him in action really inspired me to be like him. That was my dream. And I can never forget my mother, because in spite of her high post in government at that time, she always took the time to teach us, to be with us. And when she was with us, I always felt that there was no one else in the world that have her time but us. So how to devote and dedicate that quality time was huge. And every one of us take this and hope that they're going to do this with their children. Some are more than others. But those are the people that actually inspired me greatly as growing up as human being.
And that bring us again to the importance of a role model, and how your father and mother influenced you. فإنه ازاي the importance of talking the walk. What's your advice for the next generation? احنا كلنا we were raised up على حاجة دلوقتي ال younger generation, they have different personalities, different challenges, different everything. What's your advice to them?
I always hear mature generation like me complain about the young generation. They are irresponsible. They don't know the value of work. They take things for granted. And I would like to remind my generation that we are the one who produced this generation, and we are the one who guided this generation to be where they are. So we have to be accountable for that to begin with. But I'm here also to disagree with that notion. I think the new generation is an absolute magical generation. I call it magical generation. They are much better tooled than we ever had. They are a lot more exposed than we ever dreamed of. They are experienced in doing things that we never thought is possible. The question is, how can we leverage this huge set of skills in the 21st century to achieve what we are looking for? And I truly believe that the young generation have their heart in the right place. They are open, they are inclusive, they are loving more than any other generation, but they need guidance. And I trust that my generation need to be that guide. We need to provide the coaching necessary. We need to provide the guidance necessary in the context of, we are fortunate to have this generation, not in the context of, I'm trying to rectify something. We're not rectifying anything. Yes. It's a wonderful generation, like any other generation in the past, that has pros and cons, that has positive and negative. But this generation is very well equipped with tools that we never dreamed of. Yes. Okay. One, what can we do to guide and coach and mentor and help this? generation. So it's not just at work. I do that everywhere I go. If I'm in a restaurant and someone is serving us at the table, I always make sure that I know their name, and I call them by their name, and I appreciate what they do, and I suggest to them something that they can improve on before I leave. If I'm checking in a hotel, I always talk with the person in the front desk. Do you know how long it takes if I'm being admitted to a hotel or whatever facility in other parts of the world? And I help them see the value of time and how they can enhance the process of me getting into that facility. So my suggestion to my generation is be gracious, be open, leave a legacy wherever you are. It doesn't have to be in an organization context. At home, gather your children, be merciful with your children, talk with them because they are learning. So give them the tools that they need, give them the exposure that they need, and be patient with them as they take this journey. Because I really trust that visionary leadership is not 8 to 5 job. Visionary leadership is 24/7 job, which you live your life with those principles and values, and you make it part of your life to disseminate those principles and values to every interaction you have. First of all, it's going to fulfill you like never before, but also is going to duplicate you in other people. So that would be what I would suggest that can help the next generation, because they are ready.
Yes.
They just need guidance. And I think we should be the one that give that guidance.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ale, for having you today.
My pleasure.
It was my honor having you today.
My pleasure.
And may you always continue to make a difference.
Thank you so much.